Welcome back, everyone. Man, I am absolutely thrilled you're here for today's Explainer because we are diving deep into the absolute heart of the baseball season. You know, it's mid-July, the weather is scorching hot, and those pennant races, they are officially starting to simmer. Today, we're going to unpack a super fascinating midsummer MLB recap. We'll break down this totally surprising divisional clash that turned heads all across the league, and then we're going to pull back the lens a bit to see exactly where the playoff picture stands as of July 16th, 2026. If you love the strategy, the stats, and the grind of a long baseball season, you are in exactly the right place. Okay, let's jump right in. So picture this. How on earth do you beat a division rival when they are sitting a massive 13 games ahead of you? I mean, it's literally a David versus Goliath scenario. Coming into this matchup, the New York Mets were really struggling. They had a 41-57 record and were sitting way back in the standings. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Phillies were just rolling at 54-44, looking like absolute contenders. On paper, this really shouldn't have been much of a contest. But hey, as they say, games aren't played on paper, right? They're played on the dirt, and the Mets arrived with a very specific, highly effective game plan.
All right, Section 1, the midsummer matchup, clash at Citizens Bank Park.
It was a Thursday night, and the crowd was just electric. You had over 40,000 passionate Phillies fans packing the stands, fully expecting their team to just handle a struggling division rival. The atmosphere was exactly what you want in July baseball. Loud, tense, just full of anticipation. But here is the stunning result. 4-1. No way, right? The Mets walked into a completely hostile environment and took down the Phillies with a remarkably clean and disciplined performance. And they didn't just squeak by either. They controlled the tempo of this game from the middle innings onward. So how exactly did they put those 4 runs on the board?
Let's break down the rhythm of the game. Okay, so third inning, Brett Baty breaks this tight early duel with a solo home run. Boom. The Mets managed to hold that slim lead all the way until the 7th, when Francisco Alvarez delivers a heavy blow with a crucial home run of his own, which, by the way, was part of a massive 2-homer night for him. The Phillies finally wake up and answer in the 8th with a solo shot from Trea Turner to apply some late pressure. But then in the 9th, A.J. Ewing steps up and hits a clutch 2-out double to drive in an insurance run, totally sealing the deal. Notice how the Mets scored in 3 separate critical moments of the game? They just kept applying pressure.
I love how SofaScore summed this up in their post-game analysis. Quote, "The Mets had more traffic, more power, and more patience. Philadelphia had one swing from Trea Turner and not much else." This quote hits the nail on the head. It captures the essence of the game perfectly. The Mets didn't just outscore the Phillies, they fundamentally out-executed them at the plate. They forced the issue while the Phillies were just kind of left waiting for a big moment that, aside from Turner, literally never arrived.
Moving right along, Section 2. Inside the box score, power and patience.
Let's look at the hard data behind that power and patience to see exactly how the mechanics of this upset actually functioned. When you dig into the numbers, it reveals a stark contrast in offensive discipline. The Mets had 7 hits to the Phillies' 4, sure, but the real story is in the walks, 5 for the Mets and only 1 for Philadelphia. That plate discipline pushed the Mets to a fantastic .873 on-base plus slugging percentage, or OPS. The Phillies, a pretty bleak .446. Now you might notice the Mets left a staggering 16 men on base compared to Philadelphia's 7. Usually, stranding that many runners is a guaranteed recipe for a loss. But because the Mets were consistently drawing walks, building that .342 on-base percentage, and hitting 3 home runs, they essentially overpowered their own inefficiency. They just controlled the counts all night long.
Which brings us to Section 3, a tale of 2 pitchers, Scott versus Nola.
Because offense really only tells half the story, right? The starting pitching matchup absolutely dictated the pace, the tone, and ultimately the final result of this game. On the Mets side, Christian Scott was just phenomenal. 5.2 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, only 3 hits, 0 walks, and 7 strikeouts. He kept the ball in the park and completely commanded the zone, facing 20 batters with a razor-sharp 0.529 whip. On the other side, Phillies veteran Aaron Nola actually had a pretty sturdy outing on the surface. 6 innings, 6 strikeouts. But here's the crucial point, the 3 home runs allowed. Nola yielded 3 earned runs, and all of them came via the long ball. In a game decided by power swings, those 3 pitches to Baty and Alvarez, they were literally the difference maker.
And once Scott left the game in the 6th, the Mets bullpen executed what was basically a perfect relay race. Brooks Raley came in to strand 2 runners with a massively clutch strikeout. Huascar Brazoban delivered a crisp, scoreless 7th inning. Now, Luke Weaver did give up that solo homer to Turner in the 8th, but, and this is key, he didn't let the inning spiral. Finally, Devin Williams slammed the door shut in the 9th, earning his 14th save on just 13 calm, efficient pitches. When your pitching staff issues only one walk the entire game, you give your defense a huge advantage, and the Mets' arms did exactly that. Okay, so we've seen how the underdogs in New York pulled off a hugely impressive win. But no game exists in a vacuum. Let's take a breath, pivot from the micro view of this single game, and zoom out. We're going to look at the macro MLB landscape as of July 16, 2026, to see how a result like this impacts the broader playoff picture.
Section 4. National League Standings. The playoff picture. Let's do a rapid-fire tour through the NL and see who's positioning themselves for October baseball, starting right where our game took place, the NL East. Even with the tough loss to the Mets, the Philadelphia Phillies are still in a very strong position at 54-44. However, they're currently chasing the Atlanta Braves, who sit atop the division at 55-40. So the Phillies are 2.5 games back. And, well, don't look now, but the Miami Marlins are lingering right behind them at 52-45. It is a super tight three-team race at the top of the East, which makes every single game, even against struggling teams like the Mets, absolutely critical.
Moving over to the NL Central, wow, the Milwaukee Brewers are just putting on a clinic. They are running away with it right now, boasting a stellar 59-37 record. They're comfortably leading the Chicago Cubs, who are definitely having a solid season themselves at 54-42, but still sit 5 games back. The St. Louis Cardinals round out the top 3 at 50-45. Honestly, the Brewers are clearly the undisputed kings of the Central right now.
Then you go out to the NL West, and you find the true powerhouse of the league. The Los Angeles Dodgers are sitting on an incredible 61 wins and just 36 losses. They are staggering 11.5 games ahead of the second-place Arizona Diamondbacks, who are just hovering right above 500 at 49-47. The San Diego Padres are right there as well at an even 48-48. But the real story here is Los Angeles. They have built themselves a massive cushion as we head into the second half of the summer.
All right, flipping leagues. Section 5. American League Standings, the race for October.
The races on this side of the bracket are shaping up to be absolute nail-biters. In the AL East, you have a total clash of heavyweights. The Tampa Bay Rays are holding the top spot with a highly impressive 56-38 record. They're managing to hold off the New York Yankees, who are sitting at 54-42, exactly 3 games back. The Boston Red Sox are currently in third, but they've got some ground to make up, sitting under .500 at 46-48. That Rays and Yankees dogfight, that is going to be one to watch closely.
Over in the AL Central, we have what is basically a dead heat. The Cleveland Guardians are 51-46, and the Chicago White Sox are 50-45. If you run the math, both teams have identical .526 win percentages. It literally does not get tighter than this. Every single series between these two and how they handle the rest of their schedule is going to dictate who ultimately takes this division crown.
And finally, the AL West. It's a bit of a grind out here, with the Texas Rangers currently leading the pack at 49-47, but it's a very, very slim margin. The Seattle Mariners are just 1.5 games back at 48-49, and the Houston Astros aren't far behind them at 47-51, sitting just 3 games out of first. This division is wide open, guys. A hot streak by any of these 3 teams could completely flip the standings upside down. So, to put all this divisional data into perspective, let's look at the absolute top tier of baseball right now. Across both leagues, the Dodgers lead the pack with 61 wins. The Brewers are right on their heels with 59, and the Rays lead the American League with 56. These 3 squads have totally set the benchmark for the first half of the season. They are the apex predators, the target everyone else is aiming for. Which brings us to our final thought for today. We just saw the 41-win Mets completely dismantle the contending Phillies with power, patience, and some truly brilliant pitching. It just proves that on any given night, the math can change completely. So here's the question. With underdogs showing their teeth and refusing to just roll over, can baseball's current kings, the Dodgers, the Brewers, the Rays, actually hold on in the second half? The unpredictability of these upcoming months is exactly why we love this game so much. Keep your eyes on the box scores, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with me to explore the midsummer MLB landscape. Stay curious, keep learning, and I will catch you in the next explainer.